Move the Mind has the ambition to support mental health and well-being through sport. For this purpose, we draw on the knowledge and experience of modern science. In addition, with this learning course, we also want to look beyond our own horizons and learn from another cultural tradition how physical activity and movement can help us to stay mentally healthy. But before we get started, we will briefly try to put this approach into context by answering the following questions. What is Eastern Inner Science? Why do we think Eastern Inner Science can help us to cope with challenging conditions in uncertain times? How does the learning from Eastern Inner Science connect with sport, exercise, and physical activity? Let's start with the first question. Ancient Eastern Inner Science is officially called Inner Science because perceptive abilities, like sense awareness and conceptual awareness, are being used as inner investigative tools to find answers on psychological and epistemological questions. It is a rigorous scientific approach that is at the same time experiential and experimental and stems from a long tradition of research that can be traced back to the work of scholars as early as the 3rd century. Second question is, why do we think Eastern Inner Science can help us cope with challenging conditions in uncertain times? Inner Science can help us to better understand that we have an active role in how we perceive and experience reality, which gives us a certain lever over our external environment. Our assumption is that, if a person would be trained in recognizing the different types of perceptive capacities and using them more consciously in everyday life, they could regain stronghold in themselves and would not be negatively influenced that easily by inner and outer circumstances. And the final question that we are going to answer to you is, how does it relate to concepts such as sport, exercise, physical activity, etc.? The findings of Inner Science show that we use different forms of perception to experience reality. Direct forms of perception, through our 5 bodily senses, touch, sight, hearing, smell and taste, and indirect forms of perception by means of conceptual description and interpretation, naming, ideas, definitions, argumentation, through language. While conceptual perception, based on the language-based description of a situation, has shown to be sensitive to our active, core feeling, direct forms of perception like body sensation were found not to be sensitive and instead helpful in providing a good stabilizing condition. These direct forms of perception come into focus and can be trained in particular when we exercise or play sports.